This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former amateur star and now 2-0 as a professional, Mark Dickinson. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm all good, mate. How's you?
I'm very good, thank you. I hope you had a lovely Christmas.
Yeah, it was lovely, mate. Just chilled out with the family. How about you? Was it good?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Shame we're back to normal now, but let's be positive and look ahead. It's looking like 2022 is going to be a huge year for you. It's why we picked you out as one of our ones to keep an eye on for next year. Let's start off with the amateur career. It seems a good place to begin. Many titles, I think 8 national titles as an amateur, including an ABA title, of course, or national elite, I think they call it now. Just tell us about getting into the sport at Berkeley and what that famous club did for you.
So obviously my uncles both boxed professional. Jon-Lewis and Travis, they both boxed for Berkeley as well in the amateurs. So when I was about 6, 7-year-old, my dad brought me down to the gym. I wanted to be just like them, you know. So I started training at Berkeley from like 6-year-old. Probably started having fights when I was about 11, and then I started winning all the nationals of the age groups all the way up. I think I won everything all the way up, all the nationals. I got to about 18. I got picked to box in the under 18 Commonwealth Games, and I won them. And then I went to the 18 and under European Championships, and then I won gold in them. And that's when I got onto Team GB. Well, I got a trial for Team GB, came down, done my trial, got on the squad, and then I boxed for Team GB for about 3 years.
Yeah, I saw both your uncles live, actually. I was lucky enough to in Sunderland back in the day. Tony Jeffries headlining shows back then. It was pretty good. Travis was very, very talented, but kind of kept going on the missing list, unfortunately. Didn't fulfill his potential. But Jon-Lewis was very, very brave, very tough.
Yeah, obviously British champions, both of them got the English title, prize fighter. So I think now it's my turn to hopefully go on and get the world title that the family want.
Now, you were a very good amateur. You were on GB for a number of years. Tell us the story behind the Olympic qualifier selection, because I was there when they announced the team. They had a media day, and I never really understood why Sammy Lee initially got the call. And then even more so when he fell out injured, it wasn't you, it was Lewis Richardson who got called.
For me, it didn't really surprise us that Sammy Lee was picked, because I knew they was bringing him down from 81 kilo to 75, and I knew they weren't doing it for no reason. He was the 81 kilo Commonwealth Games, senior Commonwealth Games champion at 19 or 18-year-old or something. So I wasn't really surprised when he got picked. I was shocked when Lewis got the reserve spot, but everyone on that team is just there trying to do the same thing. Everyone just wants to go to the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really begrudge fighters or anything for people getting picked in that, because it's all that everyone's just there trying to do the same thing. But I was the number one. I went to the European Games, and then I went to the Worlds, and then obviously I lost in both them fights. I was only 19. I got beaten in them tournaments, and then it was time to get picked for the qualifier. Them two was picked. Then COVID hit, so we weren't at GB for months anyways. So then I came back, and I just felt like I just needed to move on from the place, to be honest with you. My vision was always to go to the 2020 and the 2024 Olympics. I wanted to do both. And then after I missed my chance this time, I just thought, like, well, in 4 years' time, I can be 4 years into a pro career. Why do I have to keep waiting around amateur, you know? So it was just something, it was a decision I made, like, on my own, really, to go pro. But it was definitely the best decision I've ever made.
When you made that call, how did you get together with Ben Davison as your trainer? How did that work?
Robert Kelby, who he works with MTK and that. He's my pal Will Coley that I trained with on GB, or was on GB with him. I'm now training with him in Ben's. He's Will's cousin. So when I said to go pro, Will's got me in touch with his cousin. I've spoke to him and that, told him about my amateur career and everything. And he was the one. He says like, he made the link with Ben. We came down last year in December to train with Ben, and I done 2 weeks with him. And he says, "I'm happy to train you if you're happy to train with me." And then that was it. February, I came down and started living with him I was still living down with the team full time.
How does it compare training with Ben to training at Berkeley with Graham Rutherford and his team?
It's a lot different, because I was training to be an amateur at Berkeley. You know, I was training to be a top amateur, so everything we done was to be a top amateur. You know, so it's a lot different. It's the training's a lot different, obviously, from converting me from amateur to a pro. That's a lot what Ben's done. You know, not so much changed my style, but just little tweaks here and there, you know, just changed me into a pro fighter. So that was the main difference is one trains you to be an amateur fighter and the other one trains you to be a professional.
How have you found the kind of moving down south as well? You know, you're a family man and everything, but you're still young.
The way I see it is if I dedicate my life to this, then I can change my life. I can do what I want to do from being a kid. I can be world champion, you know, I can look after my family and that. So that's it. I'm just dedicating my life to something I love, mate, and I want to do well out of it.
Good to hear. Now, your debut back in October only lasted 36 seconds. And then you followed up in December. They brought in a bit of a big lump for you the second time around. Was that, you know, a conscious decision to wipe the first fight out?
So on my first fight, I wasn't even meant to box that opponent. I was matched up with someone he'd knocked out his last 4. Then I was matched up with someone who was 1-11, lost 3 and draw 3, you know. So for a debut, like there weren't really bad fights, but they fell through with COVID and with just other politics stuff, you know, people falling through with fights. So I ended up having to box the man who I boxed in my first fight, and it was what it was, you know. I went in there and I made it the job it was supposed to be. For my second fight, obviously, Ben knew I was going to go in there and try and blast him out again, you know, like it was what was going to happen. So he got me a bit of a bigger lump. And I knew with the first 2 rounds, I wasn't trying to use my skill, because I was still using my skill, but I was just trying to crack him hard with every shot. And after the second round, I remember just thinking he's not going anywhere. I've just got to enjoy my performance, use my skill, and just box well. It's no, the knockout doesn't. I don't see myself as a big puncher anyways. I had 91 fights in the amateur, and I stopped 3. So it's like I don't really see myself as a big puncher, someone that's going to go in there and wipe people out and that. But I do the right. If I do the right things at the right time, then I will break people down.
How would you describe your style to anyone out there who hasn't seen you box yet?
I think the best thing about my style is I can adapt. I think I can go forward if I need to. I can go back if I need to. I can go close range, long range. I don't really have a one style that I box. I like to box to beat my opponent. So whatever's needed on the night, I'll use.
And do you think when it's time to challenge for championships, you're 22 now, so you've probably stopped growing, at least height-wise. Do you think you'll settle
I've stopped
middle?
growing height-wise. I know I can still make 160 pounds now. That's middle, so I can make that. I'll make that no problem. I probably will end up with super middleweight one day though, but that'll be in the future, mate. That at the minute I'm aiming to get the titles at 160.
And talking of titles, it's still very early days, but when would you like to start challenging for titles, whether that's English, area, British, whatever?
For me, I'd never turn a fight down. So obviously that's why I've got the good team around me. It's up to them to put me on the right steps, the right time, the right fights. But I don't really feel like I need to hold them back, but I do know that I'm young. I don't want to be one of these fighters to rush into a fight 12 months too early to then go, oh, if you wait 12 months, you would have beaten, you know what I mean? I think it's good that I'm getting the rounds in on my last fight, because blasting everyone out does you no good. But I'm just taking it a fight at a time, mate. Whenever we want to move on to titles, I'm happy to. When my coaching team, when my management team say I'm ready, then I'm ready.
What would you like to be able to say about yourself by the end of next year, whether it's, you know, winning a title or a certain number of fights in the bank? Where do you want to be?
Still unbeaten. If that's with a title, then so be it. But if not, I would like to move on to 8 rounds at some point this year. I'm not saying that's going to be the next fight. I'm not sure when it'll be, but at some point I want to move on to 8 rounds and just keep progressing in my career, to be honest with you, mate. I just want to be further forward than I am now. And
you're with Pro Bellum, recent signing, of course, big emerging promotional powerhouse. How did that come about, and what do you make of what they've told you so far?
Well, obviously, I've got the best management team, MTK Global. I've got Ben Davison behind me as well. Everyone advising me and what to do, and they're just everything that they give me the opportunities to say they're going to give, and that it just beat everyone else. To be honest with you, mate, I never got an offer. I never got as good an offer off anybody else. And just the way they speak about the route that we're going to go just sounds like what I want to do.
Good stuff. And who are your kind of boxing influences, apart from your uncles, who obviously were there from a very young age? Who else did you look out on the way up that you liked, or that you patterned your style?
Like when I was a kid coming through and that.
Yeah.
Obviously my dad, my amateur coach, Graham Rutherford. He was a very, very big part of my boxing career, and I'll still say it today. I wouldn't be where I am without him. So he was a very big part in it. And but obviously now, like in the stable now, it's obviously like Ben Davison's a very, very big part of it. You know, obviously Barry Smith, Lee Wiley, them always in the gym non-stop working, trying to get me better. So I've just got to give 100% back, mate.
And what about fighters? Any particular kind of heroes?
I was, as a kid, and I always loved Mike Tyson, like Marvin Hagler, and that. I think Mayweather's the best the best ever to do it. Like, but I love Canelo. I'll watch Canelo every single day. Great
stuff. Now, before I let you go, just tell everyone watching how they can find you on the different social media platforms so they can get involved.
My Instagram is Mark_Dickinson1. And the same as for my Twitter.
Brilliant. Really, really appreciate your time. Very best of luck for 2022.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All the best for the new year, mate.
And you. And I hope to see you in action as soon as possible.
Yeah, it should be, definitely.
Cheers, mate. Take care.